Greetings, brave adventurers! My name is FoxyBard, and it's Wednesday, my dudes. I know this is supposed to be Community Day, but my community has been kinda holding out on me, not providing enough stories. Well, I guess that means we have to go back to the good old-fashioned Reddit mines, because Reddit comes in mines. Now, the point is, I have a story from Reddit for you today. It's delightful in some ways, and mostly not delightful in all of the other ways. I like the title, though. It's a good title. But I always do premieres on Wednesdays, so hey, you still get to watch this live with me. Hi, chat. Yay. Okay. So grab yourselves a seat around the fire as we dig into this story of role-playing. Today's post, by the user Full Health Cosplay, is called The Lion, the Witch, and the Audacity of This Bitch. How our DM killed two characters because a feature poked a hole in an encounter. I told you it was a good title. It's a great title. It's about a DM who got angry because his players played intelligently and actually bothered to consider what their races can do. Well then, let's get into it. Tale start. In one of my first D&D 5e games, I decided to play as a Wood Elf Beastmaster Ranger. Oh no, I'm sorry, because it's one of my favorite elements of fantasy. If you have ever played a 5e elf, you would know one of its major features is that elves simply do not sleep. They enter a trance for rest, and they are immune to effects and spells that put them to sleep. Remember that. It will play in later. The DM was a friend of a friend, and the OG friend who introduced me wanted to have a backstory that linked the two of us together. It would give me a reason to join the game in progress, as well as someone to bounce RP off more easily. She played an elf warlock/wizard witch, and in the joke of a name I came up with the idea to be known as Lion, as my beast of companionship was a lion, reskinned a wolf. DM was totally on board. My friend and I started writing quite a bit about the two we called the Lion, the Witch, and the Warlord, as her previously established backstory was her family killed by a power-hungry warlord. Despite the joke name, we were very serious about the backstory and went to great lengths with the DM to make it something really interesting. The first few sessions kick off, I am introduced, and the game is great. I love D&D. I want to play this forever, I thought, when after about the third session, I began to pick up on some red flags of the DM forcing some really heavy railroad. Notably, we wanted to seek aid from the nearby town to solve a problem, but in saying, "We want to head out," he stopped us, described this whole scenario where how the road was closed due to rockfall, and told us we instead decided to go to the local thieves guild instead for help. An idea we all thought was dumb as crap. The other three players at the table argued with the DM about this, pointing out issues of him railroading them in situations I was never even present for, so I sat and held my tongue. The DM was firm on his decision though, so everyone just pouted and went with it. Begrudgingly, our party headed to the Thieves Guild. After a short talk with the Thieves Guild master, some clever convincing on our players' part, and all three persuasion rolls being higher than a 17, we were asked to follow him into a back room to get access to a gemstone we needed to break a curse. Could have just asked the neighbor town cleric for help, but oh well. Feeling confident, we convinced this leader, even being told we passed the DCs. For convincing, we walk into the room when suddenly the door shuts behind us. Ooh, spooky. And the room filled with purple gas. The DM describes that everything happens so fast. We were unable to react, and with no rolls or saving throws tell us, "You all feel drowsy and collapse in sleep on the floor." This is where my witch friend and I, the two elves of the party, speak up. "Our abilities make us immune to sleep. we don't get knocked out, the witch says. Yeah, and before the doors open again, I want to have Lionel guard one door while I place my bear trap at the other, I say. Cue arguing with the DM that sleeping gas can't make two beings immune to, magic included, sleep fall asleep. We simply don't need to sleep. It's not something we can do, so this has zero effect on us. We are awake, conscious, and can make actions. Edit. See clarification and justification for Fey ancestry below. We'll get to that in a second. It's after the next couple paragraphs.
Fine,
the DM gives in.
You are awake, but Lionel was not allowed into the Thieves Guild at the door. All your weapons, spell books, and spell focus / components were taken too.
Are you nuts? Why wouldn't you say that before? We would never go into the Thieves Guild unarmed. We all thought we have our weapons, chimed in the witch. I call Lionel to me from the other room. I want him to help us, I say.
Well, you didn't ask if you take your weapons, and you hear from the other room a howl as the Thieves Guild slays your lion,
angrily stammers the DM.
Guards start to enter the room with you. All the rest of you are still asleep.
Did he just really kill the ranger's animal companion off screen and not give any... Oh, I don't like this DM. Edit. I should add in, the ability for Fey ancestry does come into effect here, as the DM justified the instantaneous knockout as magic gas. The party was more upset by the fact they had no time to react, got no chances or rolls to resist or escape, and were forced to go into that room in the first place. The DM said,
He invites you to the back room, but as you walk in, the door's shut, a purple smoke fills, and you are all unconscious.
Cue another 15 minutes of people arguing that doing something like that was unfair. I don't really chime in. I actually feel terrible and sad that my lion was just killed. Yeah, that's awful. I'm so sorry. I know it's imaginary, but I had really been happy to have a pet again, at least in my mind, so I was honestly just depressed. The DM gives in to the arguing and says for my friend and I to roll for initiative, but we are still unarmed. I rolled low, but she rolled high. I cast Dimension Door 40 feet up onto the street, the witch triumphantly announces, and I will grab the ranger and go through.
You can't cast spells without a spell focus,
the idiot DM proudly states.
Dimension Door is a vocal-only spell. It doesn't need one,
the witch snaps back.
Well, then you try to cast it, but one of the guards counterspells it at 4th level, says the DM. That ends your turn.
Over the next 3 turns, the party lay asleep on the floor, while the 3 players sat angry at their desks. Roll20 online. The DM proceeds to counterspell or block every attempt the witch and I make to escape. We resort to just making dodge actions on our turn, back to back, hoping together that, okay, he's railroading us for a reason. If we just hold the line, whatever was going to happen will happen, and it will be okay. But then, on round 4, a wall opens up to more guards with crossbows who, and I quote this one exactly,
riddle the 2 of you with bolts from all the crossbows at once. You lie bleeding out on the floor as your vision fades to black.
No attack rolls, no damage rolls, no death saving throws, not even initiative order to get the chance to do anything. When we fade to black, we half expected to wake up with our captured party, but no. The DM says the 2 of us are dead and need to leave the Discord call so the others can continue without us. The witch, my good friend for a long time, can be heard sobbing on her mic. I am welling up too at the thought of my character being killed off like this, and my pet dying without me. We are both messaging each other to see if the other is okay, and are preparing to leave, when our saviors step up to the plate. The 3 other members of the party, silent during the fight, erupt into an argument of such terrifying magnitude. I genuinely believe a UFC fight would be less terrifying to be in. One gets up from his mic, is silent for 10 minutes, and then out of nowhere can be heard through the DM's mic arguing and insulting him as, it turns out, he drove 10 minutes to his now former friend's house and was let inside by the DM's girlfriend, who heard everything from the witch, her best friend. Why is it I tell you this story today? What prompted me to tell a 3-year-old story on this sub? That is because this past weekend, on a beautiful island near their home, the witch and the guy who screamed at the DM at his own house got engaged, and I get to go to their wedding. The DM's girlfriend broke up with him not a few weeks later, as it cascaded into arguing, and she actually ended up dating the other D&D member for a bit, but that had a really bad falling out, so no happy story there. Me? I stay in touch with my friend the witch, and will always enjoy recounting with her the story of the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch. Tail end. And there we have it. The lion, the witch, and the audacity of that guy. Actually, yeah, no, that's more appropriate for my channel, because we talk about that guys, and this DM, 100%, that guy. Do you remember how in Monday's video, my top 10 tips for DMing, go watch it if you haven't, it's really good, it hasn't gotten enough love, please? I went over how sometimes railroading can actually be good and necessary. Yeah, no, this is not how you do that. This is the 100% incorrect way to do that. How are you going to get off killing 2 players while they can't do anything? It was bad enough when he killed the ranger's animal companion. Off screen, I should add. That's awful. Ugh. But then to go on and just say that both of them are dead, no saves, no attack rolls, nothing, that is unbelievably outrageous, and I think he was just bitter because they actually thought of something and played elves, because elves are immune to magical sleep. That's just something that elves do. This DM was a piece of work. If I was to talk about all of the mistakes he made, we'd be here for another hour, and as much as I would love the ad revenue, I'm not going to do that. I'm not entirely sure I agree with the guy just going to the DM's house. That's potentially a little bit kind of scary, kind of weird, but they were friends, well, former friends at this point, and maybe it wasn't that weird for them in their particular situation and relationship, so I guess I can't speak on it because I don't know the 2 of them, but I would be freaked out if someone came over to my house to cuss me out for doing something in an RPG. That's the only thing I will give any amount of sympathy for the DM, though. The rest of it? Nah, throw out the whole man. Whew, and that will do it for today. I just wanted to do a little short one for you because I don't have a proper community story, but you could always alleviate that by joining the FoxyBard Discord server. Link is down in the description, and sharing your stories there. I would love to hear all of them, and you would very likely be featured on the next community day. That said, I might have to make these bi-weekly, semi-weekly, whatever the one that is once every other week, whatever that one is. Because I'm running out, so gotta go back to horror stories. That's okay, they pay better. All that said, don't forget to like the video if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. You can also ring that bell notification icon if you would like to be notified every time I upload a new video, and leave me your comments down below. I read all of them, and lately I've been trying to respond to more of them, as many as I can at least. Okay, Foxy out. let's douse the fire and get back to our own adventures.